नमस्कार। आज टॉपिक थोड़ा बड़ा है एंड आई एम ट्राइंग टू कवर 3 डिफरेंट एज ब्रैकेट्स इन दिस, इसलिए समय ज़्यादा लगेगा. इफ़ यू हैव any pen or paper nearby, you wish to take notes, you're most welcome to do so. So I'll start with the presentation. What is the first financial problem statement which we as individuals face? As the slide says, most of us work for around 30 to 32 years. We enter the workforce at the age of 24, 25, and then we work till around 58, 60. Some of us tend to work longer, 65 odd, but approximate work span is 30 to 32 years. But paisa hमें चाहिए for a complete 85 years. Once we are, now the life expectancy for upper middle class individuals has gone up till 85 years. So you work for 32 years, you need money for a much longer period of time. And over a work life of 32 years, rather, I would say over a life of 85 years, तो 25 से 85 साल अगर आप बात करते हैं, इस 50 साल में आप जो भी कमाते हैं, whether it is direct incomes, whether it is income from your investments, approximately 20% will go towards taxes. And I'm not talking about indirect taxes. Approximately 20% will go towards direct taxes, that is income tax or any kind of a capital gain, etc., which your investments get you. Whatever you earn, most of us consume at least 50% of our regular incomes for regular consumption, जो कि आप कह सकते हैं हमारा एक तरह से वर्किंग कैपिटल है. अगर आप 100 रुपये कमा रहे हैं, 20 टैक्स की तरफ गया, 50 रुपये आपके महीने दर महीने के खर्चे हैं. Therefore, you need to save and invest and cater for financial goals with the balance 30% of the incomes. And that is true only for very disciplined individuals or very, very financially disciplined families. Most of others are not able to save even that much. And since they're not able to save that much, they're not able to invest also that much. Average figures as per industry, as per data which we have been able to understand in last 15 years is single income households save around 17 to 18% of their lifetime earnings and then invest that, and they have to with that amount cater for a lot of financial responsibilities. And that is where the challenge of financial sufficiency and the need for financial planning comes in. That's the problem statement 1 which we'll be addressing today. The problem statement 2 which we'll be addressing today. When you start hitting 65, unless until you have been in a profession where you are earning because of the mental capacity of having clients, say if you're a chartered accountant or if you're an advocate or if you're a practicing doctor, if that is not the case, if you are a salaried individual, then 95% chances are that at 65, you will not, beyond 65, it would be very difficult for you to be engaged in economically productive vocation. You wish to spend maybe around 1.5 lakh rupees a month once you're 65 plus. As of today, assuming you're 65 today and you earn around 2.5 lakh rupees a month on an average, you after you retire or after you hit 65, you wish to spend 1.5 lakhs, but your incomes are around 1 lakh a month, and your savings as of today, the liquid savings I'm talking about, your home equity is something separate, but your liquid saving is around 1.5 crore approx. So the challenge here is, how is this 1.5 crore invested in a way so that you're able to continuously get the 1.5 lakh, that 50,000 deficit continuously comes to you, and the 1.5 crore does not deplete, that you are suddenly left without any money. So you're not just simply eating in from your savings, your investments are growing as well as giving you a continuous cash flow. So that's the problem statement number 2 for today's discussion. What are your biggest challenges? Your biggest challenge is 1, inflation. Every month you need more money. उसका impact शायद आपको हर महीने महसूस नहीं होता है, because इट इज नॉट अ मैथमेटिकल अपग्रेडेशन, सीढ़ियां चढ़ने वाला काम नहीं है आप, बट महंगाई हर महीना बढ़ती है. आफ्टर अ कपल ऑफ इयर्स यू स्टार्ट फीलिंग द इम्पैक्ट, बिकॉज वही घर चलाने के लिए जो आपको अभी 1.5 लाख रुपया चाहिए, वो 1 साल बाद शायद आपको 1,56,000 रुपये चाहिए. वो आपको एग्जैक्टली नहीं पता लगता है, बट inflation will continue to eat without any kind of a break into your savings. Your savings will continue to deplete. इसलिए if you're not planning your finances properly, this alone, inflation alone will diminish your savings. It will reduce your financial net worth by a considerable degree. So your investments have to be able to beat inflation by a considerable margin. Second, second challenge is taxes. It would be very unwise if an individual who doesn't work to understand own tax applications. अगर मुझे खुद को ये नहीं पता कि मेरे फाइनेंशियल सिचुएशन, मेरी एज के हिसाब से मेरे ऊपर टैक्सेस कैसे लागू होते हैं, देन इट्स अ फाइनेंशियल पर्सनल फाइनेंशियल क्राइम. You should spend time and understand the tax implications, especially the direct tax implications of your earnings as well as investments, whether it is personal income taxes or capital gain taxes. You should be very, very handy with those numbers. What are your saviors when it comes to your investments? And Abhi, I am not going into the exact workings. We are just talking broad, because unless until you do this mental reset in you, it would be very difficult to remain financially sufficient. You'll always be insecure about your money, and that can be a very, very disturbing situation. One, patience. आप ये मान के चलें कि अगर आप बहुत ज़्यादा तेज गाड़ी चलाएंगे, एंड इफ यू आर रेगुलरली गेटिंग ड्रंक एंड देन ड्राइविंग, अगर आप ये चीज बार बार करते हैं, so the chances that you'll get into an accident due to speed and under the influence of alcohol are very high. And every time you do this activity, the you're increasing the probability of getting into a nasty accident. इसका फाइनेंशियल इक्विवेलेंट क्या है? इसका फाइनेंशियल इक्विवेलेंट है ट्राइंग टू गेट वेरी फास्ट रिटर्न्स, बहुत तेज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न्स की कोशिश करना, किसी भी तरह की ट्रेडिंग में एंगेज करना. सो स्पीड से गाड़ी चलाने का फाइनेंशियल इक्विवेलेंट इज ट्राइंग टू गेट वेरी फास्ट रिटर्न्स, 24% रिटर्न, 30% रिटर्न, 20% रिटर्न. और उसके लिए ट्रेडिंग एक्टिविटीज में घुसना, चाहे वो ट्रेडिंग एक्टिविटीज एफएनओ ट्रेडिंग हो, शेयर ट्रेडिंग्स हो, बिटकॉइंस हो, real estate trading, or any kind of a trading is a very, very, it gives you that kick the way alcohol gives you that kick. The chemical release is same, the name of the chemical or the hormone is dopamine, but you continuously engage in this kind of a behavior, financially it is going to be a very, very difficult situation for you. So have the patience to be okay, reach or understand the investments which give you 12 to 15% returns over a long period of time, and your financial issues would be solved. The operative word here is average 12 to 15% compounded returns. Not that हो सकता है किसी साल में आपको 18% आ जाए, किसी में 12 है, किसी में 17 है, बट अगर आप 15, 20, 25 साल इन्वेस्टेड रहते हैं, 12 to 15% average portfolio return is a very, very handsome rate of return, and that will solve most of your financial questions. It will answer most of your financial questions. सेकेंड, कंसिस्टेंसी. कंसिस्टेंसी का मतलब ये नहीं है कि कंसिस्टेंट रिटर्न लाइक एन फिक्स डिपॉजिट, कि मेरे को हर साल 6% का रिटर्न मिल रहा है. कंसिस्टेंसी का मतलब ये है कि चाहे जो भी हो जाए, आई एम गोइंग टू स्टे इन्वेस्टेड एंड स्टिक विद द गोल्स आई हैव चोजन फॉर माई सेल्फ. मार्केट में उतार चढ़ाव आएंगे, वोलेटिलिटी होगी, दैट्स ओके. I am not going to pull out my SIPs when the market dips. I'm not going to suddenly increase my SIPs when the market is bullish. It means I'll stay on the crease and play every ball on merit, but I will be consistent in the terms that I'll stay on the crease. I'll not give my wicket on a foolish ball. So that's the second very important mental reset you need to be able to financially plan your journey. थर्ड इज इक्विनामिटी. इक्विनामिटी में इंपॉर्टेंट ये है कि आप ये समझें और इस बात को, इक्विनामिटी मेंटेन कैसे होगा इस चीज को जाने. अपना खुद का टेम्परामेंट चेक कीजिए. रिकग्नाइज कीजिए क्या वोलेटिलिटी आपको परेशान करती है, क्या आपके पोर्टफोलियो में कुछ चीजें ऊपर नीचे हो जाएं तो उससे आप बहुत परेशान, बहुत दुखी हो जाते हैं, मेंटल स्ट्रेस में आ जाते हैं. So understand your tolerance level. Where do you stand in terms of being able to tolerate the market vagaries? If the market vagaries trouble you a lot, prepare for that. Recognize your temperament. For example, me, I am someone who has a very low tolerance for cold. मुझे सर्दियों में बहुत परेशानी हो जाती है, सो मैं उसकी तैयारी पहले से ही करता हूँ. आप अपनी मेंटल इक्विलिब्रियम तभी मेंटेन कर पाएंगे जब आप पहले से ये मान के चलेंगे कि बाजार में ऊपर नीचे होगा, कोविड आएगा, रशिया यूक्रेन की लड़ाई होगी, अच्छी चीजें भी होंगी, किसी क्वार्टर थ्री का रिजल्ट अच्छा आएगा तो सेंसेक्स ऊपर भी जाएगा. सो जनरली पीपल गेट डिस्टर्ब्ड बाय नेगेटिव वोलेटिलिटी. इफ यू आर समवन who gets troubled by negative volatility, start preparing for it. Have a cash cushion. Have a substantial part of your investments in debt related instruments. Do not get into any kind of a investment जहाँ पे आपको loss of principal हो जाए, because those things will then trouble and it will spoil your mental equanimity and poise. And आप और हम सब इंसान हैं. We get impacted by people whom we keep company of. Therefore, please do not get into company of people who, when it comes to finances, make irresponsible statements like सब चलता है, कुछ नहीं होता यार, लगा ले देखा जाएगा. Because the moment you start losing principal is when you will start losing your financial balance. So if you have these three mental qualities, and okay, I will not even say qualities, these are skills, and like any other skill, they can be practiced and developed. So learn the skill first, recognize that you need these three skills, and then start working towards developing these skills in your financial planning and your financial journey. In fact, financial journey is your life journey. So moving on, the next one is compound interest. इसका formula सबने पढ़ा है, सबको पता है, बहुत common formula है. The problem is that 90% of the people focus on the R, मुझे कितना जल्दी पैसा मिल जाए, which is something that is not in your control. You don't really control the rate of interest, a rate of return on your investments. That is controlled by the external factors. That's controlled by the economy. That's controlled by production. That's controlled by government actions. So there are a lot of external factors which control the rate of investments. You do control the rate of investments. अगर आप कायदे का इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं, फंडामेंटली सही है, तो यू कैन बी मोर और लेस कॉन्फिडेंट एंड श्योर कि आप एक ठीक ठाक से इन्वेस्टमेंट कर पाएंगे. लेकिन अगर आप बेवकूफ़ी भरे इन्वेस्टमेंट, मतलब instead of trying to be too smart, if you try not to be an idiot, even that is a victory in the financial markets. What is more important in terms of compounding is P, the principal, because that is what you control. The amount of money which you invest is what you control. N is the years or the amount of time you stay invested. That is what you control. If you focus on these two things alone, 90% of your financial questions would be very, very adequately answered. So, what are the 5 broad objectives which are a part of a financial planning or a retirement planning? ये अभी पीछे जो बात हुई उसका एक तरह से summary है. One, capital preservation. Under no circumstances you should get into a financial operation where you tend to lose money, where your principal is gone. कि मैंने पैसा लगाया था 100 रुपए, उसमें से 20 रुपए तो चला ही गया. I'm not talking about a short-term volatility, but I'm talking about investing in things which can vanish overnight. Second, inflation protection plus a 4 to 7% return on inflation. Historically, inflation has been around 6 odd percent. होलसेल इन्फ्लेशन, आपको कोई भी ऐसा इन्वेस्टमेंट जो आपको 10 से लेकर के 13-14% का रिटर्न देता है, वो एक अच्छा इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है. उससे आगे की आपको बहुत ज्यादा परेशान होने की जरूरत नहीं है. थर्ड, टैक्स एफिशिएंसी. You should learn about taxes, you should spend time, and then also seek appropriate specialists who can help you achieve maximum possible legally allowed tax efficiency when you are making your investments. Financial sufficiency. At no point in time you should be drawing so much from your finances, so much from your money, so much from your investments that आगे ऐसा लगे कि आपको पैसे की जरूरत है और वो आपके गोल्स के लिए पैसे अवेलेबल नहीं. And finally, ease and comfort. If you're working with anyone, any professional, and there, if you are not, if the professional is not transparent, if there is too much of name throwing. If the person is trying to impress you a lot, please don't work with those kind of people. You should always work with people where you have a certain ease and comfort in terms of your money being managed. You know what is happening. You are reported on time. Your things are clear to you. So, what's the recommended strategy for meeting the five objectives which we just spoke? One, goal setting. Whenever you are trying to achieve, whenever you are making your investments, split it into the required goals. Majority goals for most of us: buying a house, being able to provide for your senior age, which is also known as pension planning, and meeting your social obligations towards your children. How do you achieve that? By diversification, tailoring your portfolio, rebalancing it from time to time, and creating a hybrid of your investments with growth and safety. You cannot be only focused on growth, because if you do that, you probably can get into very difficult financial situations. You cannot be totally focused on very safe investments like fixed deposits, because in that case, you will not be able to achieve the financial sufficiency required. So what you need is the middle path or a hybrid strategy. What you need is something which is tailored for your personal requirements, for your personal individual financial goals. And how do you reduce risk? You reduce risk by making adequate diversifications, by spreading your investments into certain manner by which you are able to achieve diversification of the underlying instruments in which you have made your investments. How do we go about it for our clients? There is a five-step process which we follow. We first get into data collection. We get into a risk assessment with the client. As I said, we understand what is your tolerance level, what is your temperament, by asking you, by speaking to you, by some kind of a questionnaire. Once we understand that this is your tolerance level, then we have a goal discussion with you, that these are your goals which you have to achieve. This is what you have already achieved. This is what you have to achieve in future. Once we have that, then we provide a data financial plan to you, which is the first draft of our financial plan. Then step two is when we provide you the financial plan, our clients come back and say that this is what I would like some changes to be made. I probably would like to have more safety on this aspect, because this is a non-negotiable aspect for me. My child has to go for higher education after 7 years. This is something where I have more time. I'm still working. So instead of maybe 60, I'll be okay working for 62. I can be more flexible here. So based on our client's recommendation, as a part of step two, we make the required modifications in the financial plan. And then based on the financial plan, we get into the asset allocation stage, which is the step three. We set up the client's account. This is the actual execution phase, wherein we make the required investments where the client has asked us to make those investments, and then setting up, if it is for someone who is 60 plus year or of age, then setting up the required the systematic withdrawals. If it is that we are putting a lump sum money, then setting up the systematic transfer plan, etc. If we are dealing with someone who is now starting the investment journey, then establishing the required systematic investment plans in different funds as per their different goals. So step three is the execution phase. Step four is evaluation, wherein we evaluate the performance of the portfolio every yearly basis, unless until there have been events which kind of can preempt the evaluation every 6 months, but mostly it's done on a yearly basis. And depending on the way the portfolio has behaved in the last 1 year, and if we feel there is a need to rebalance between the equity and the portfolio, if there is a need to do a rebalance between the asset allocation, then we do the asset allocation rebalancing. Goal setting for the 45 to 55 years of individuals, the goal setting is generally discharging obligations, and they're at the peak of their careers. For people who are at 55 to 65 years, we still are in the discharging obligation phase, but now we are in the pre-retirement phase. So these are the broad goal settings which you can be noting now also. For point being, you don't need us, you can do it yourself. 65 to 75 years, your early retirement goals, and 75 to 85 years, your late retirement. Two important SIPs which we refer to all our clients. Either you should have a health insurance once you're coming out of a job, if for the officers who are here, we do recommend taking a health insurance if due to any reason you're not able to take a health insurance, especially applicable to officers who are coming out at a later age, or to officers who have some kind of disability which happened to them. Then we request them to have a health SIP, which is to say that in case you need, then there is a pool of money which is available to you to dip into. And if you're not able to take a health insurance, this is an alternative. And similarly, we recommend to our clients to have a YOLO SIP. This is basically for later years when you have discharged your obligations, and now every now and then you should be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, the fruits of a long meritorious life which you have lived. This is how we go about suggesting to our clients when we are making portfolios for them. Asset allocation, one side is the growth side. Growth side includes equities and real estate. In our organization, we are quite neutral about the two. Equities and real estate are one or the same thing. And on the stable side, which balances the portfolio, as I said, if you are someone who has a low tolerance for volatility or the price fluctuations, then you should be heavier on the stable side, and otherwise you can be heavier on the growth side. So stable side includes debt funds, it includes government bonds, it includes fixed deposits and instruments like that. Maybe even rent-bearing commercial real estate. And when you are making a lump sum investment, say you got a retirement corpus of around 1.5 crore, what you have to do is step by step use a mechanism known as STP, which is systematic transfer plan, wherein the bulk of your money is kept into a debt fund, and a systematic instruction is given to your fund manager, which is automated in a way so that your fund slowly, step by step, over a period of next 10 to 12 months, gets transferred into equity funds which have been pre-decided or pre-discussed, unless there are events which might require interim intervention. After a year, as I said, you have to again go and do a portfolio rebalancing and monitoring. The review part is very important for anyone who is doing financial planning, whether you're doing it yourself or you're doing it in conjunction with a financial planner or a financial advisor. You should be able to monitor your portfolio. Very important, especially for those who are now in 60 plus years of age, so that at no point you should have made excess withdrawals from your debt portfolio and you are suddenly found wanting that abhi my portfolio is depleted. So after a year or maybe even 6 months, you should keep on having a relook at your portfolio and try and rebalance it depending on how the markets are behaving. And that's where we work for our clients. Should I be investing in equity oblique real estate? That's a very common question. And I would say yes, because growth is needed for long-term capital preservation. If you're not investing in equity or real estate, whatever your choice is, then you will be not able to meet your financial obligations. And you'll generally find that your capital is not sufficient to be able to provide for your children's marriage or education, or to be able to, if you're a non-pensioner, then provide for your pensions in the old age. So you need to have an equity oblique real estate portfolio. Equity and real estate are directly pegged to economic growth. Long run, if you have made right kind of fundamentally right investments, you are generally going to be doing well with your equity and real estate portfolios. It is not possible to protect against inflation without real estate or equity. These are interchangeable in our minds. It is up to the client to decide what they want to decide. Dividends and rentals are also a very, very conducive way to generate regular income on the portfolio on which you invest. Commercial real estate, if chosen properly, can give you very handsome rental returns equivalent to the debt uh, investments you make, and also provide you the capital appreciation of equity. But I would place a word of caution here. Commercial real estate should be done only under the guidance of an expert real estate investment advisor, because it's a very, very risky field to be in. It's still very opaque. Should I be buying life insurance? Assess your liabilities. If there are three categories of people in this discussion today, people who are coming out on short service after having served for 10 to 14 years, they should definitely have a good look at a pure term life insurance. Those who are coming out after 20, 22 years, that is those who are in the PMR age 45 to 47, they should also have a look at pure time life insurance. Those who are already in their 55 years of age, and if they have already adequately catered for life insurance, I mean, already catered for their obligations and their children are more or less settled, their education has been complete, then they actually don't need to have life insurance, and that's an expenditure they can do away with. So it depends on where you are. Assess your liability. If your liabilities are existing and if you are still not there, then maybe you need a term life insurance. A lot of times PMR and superannuating officers, they will not need life insurance. The AGIF extended cover should be sufficient. What are our recommendations on commutation of pension? I have done a complete talk on this. You can go to the Value Talks channel and look at the calculations here. Suffice to say, commutation is quite beneficial. It is a very, very attractive cost of money. And unless until you are a special category pensioner whose pension is not getting, I mean, on which income tax is not applicable, then you should commute. If you are a special category pensioner, wherein by the reason of a disability, or if you're a gallantry award awardee, then if your pensions are exempt from income tax, then maybe you may not need to do computation. But that's again a discussion you should have more personalized with your financial advisor. On generalized basis, I can say that the rate of computation as of today, that is the rate at which the government commutes the amount and pays your lump sum, is quite attractive. And as a broad recommendation, you should commute your amount and invest it into a higher yielding asset which are available in the market. A lot of question is now being raised by investors about the removal of indexation from debt funds. Now I'll briefly touch upon what was the indexation available till now. डेट फंड्स में अभी तक क्या था, जो लास्ट बजट गया उससे पहले, आप अगर 3 साल से ज्यादा इन्वेस्टेड रहते हैं तो जो भी आपका गेन है उस गेन में से आप इंडेक्सेशन, मतलब जो महंगाई जो बढ़ी है, जो गवर्नमेंट का इंडेक्स हर साल आता है, उतना गेन आप कम कर सकते थे और फिर आप को उसके ऊपर टैक्स देना पड़ता था. अभी लास्ट बजट में गवर्नमेंट ने ये वाला बेनिफिट रिमूव कर दिया है. सो डेट फंड्स में इंडेक्सेशन बेनिफिट रिमूव होने की वजह से उसकी अट्रैक्टिवनेस थोड़ा सा कम होती है एज कम्पेयर टू अदर डेट instruments such as a corporate bond, even a fixed deposit. But still, it is not something which should not be completely ignored by a investor for a very simple reason. They provide a balance to your portfolio. The yield can be slightly better than fixed deposits, and they are quite liquid in spite of they being debt instruments. So, and they are well diversified. Most of the mutual fund, the reputed mutual fund AMCs, they have very well diversified debt portfolios, so they should be included as a part of your financial planning or part of your corpus. Is there an alternative to debt funds? That's a question which we have been asked, and to our clients, we do make suggestions that you can get into a fractional ownership of commercial real estate. You get all the benefits of a debt fund there. You can get a higher rental yield. You will get capital appreciation, which is not there in debt funds. So the rental yield can be as good as a debt fund return. The capital appreciation would be also there, and there would be an indexation benefit also. The problem is that liquidity would not be as good as the debt fund liquidity is. So that would be a trade-off which you'll have to make if you're looking at an alternative to debt fund in fractional ownership in commercial real estate. That could be a trade-off. Some of the recommendations when you're doing your financial planning, whether it is financial planning for retirement, or overall financial planning, whether it is financial planning of your now retirement corpus, include your spouse in the entire financial planning process. Whatever age you are, plan your loans in a way, and this loans include all kind of loans. Could be your car loan, could be your home loan, could be any other loan, so that you are debt free by the time you are of age 65. Prepare a list of your financial documents and keep them handy. That's a general recommendation. Reduce financial complexity. Do not have too many things going on. Try and get everything in one or two Excel sheets. 90% of the people would be able to use a good Google sheet and be able to, reduce the complexity. I mean, basically, do not have too many scattered or disorganized things in your finances. And please now move from being paper oriented to paperless. That is going to make things easier for you. Recommendations for people who are 60 plus: consolidate your real estate. If you have any real estate which is more than 100 kilometers away, please try and get it to closer to you. If possible, sell it, liquidate, find other avenues to make that investment. Prepare your will, get it registered. If you do not want to get it registered, at least get it notarized and let it be known to people whom that will is going to impact. Start having fun. Now, this is a recommendation for short service officers. I would say that they have to understand a very simple fact that they have a very, very primary challenge, that they are people without pensions. So they have to earn at least 40% more as compared to their peers if they want to have a pensionable, as in when they start hitting their pensionable ages, and they want to have a lifestyle which is equivalent to their peers who would be having government pensions. So they have to keep this mathematical fact in mind when they're earning and when they're making their investments. If you're not still not in possession of a house, a short service officer should immediately buy a house. It can be anywhere, not necessary that you're buying a house in the city of work. As a short service officer, 80% chances are that you'll be working in one of the metros. Still, you can go and buy a house in a smaller place, so that at least you have a major financial question of your life addressed for you, and that is settled. That will give you a lot of peace of mind, security, confidence, and will help you grow financially. I would make a real estate recommendation here, especially for officers. Start looking beyond the metro cities of NCR, Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad. The real estate has gone crazy there. It's not viable or recommended for you to buy real estate there. The next three cities in North India, which we feel are going to be beneficial for officers: Jaipur, Lucknow, Bhopal. They have a good can support. All three cities have at least a core to have a command. You have a good officer institute there, a good Fauji golf course, and a good Fauji medical support. All three cities are state capitals, so the law and order is as good as the metro cities. Connectivity wise, all these three cities have functional airports, international airports, railways, well connected with highways. So these are good three cities where you can start looking at buying a house for your own usage. Social and civil infrastructure is good. If you're a young officer, you will be able to find good opportunities for your children to get education. You will have enough of opportunities for your spouse to have some kind of a work, and the price appreciation in these cities is also now very good. Budget is within reach. The ease of living is there, low pollution, less traffic, and weather-wise, Bhopal is a very good place. So is Jaipur. It's surrounded by Aravali Hills. Lucknow has more or less the typical North Indian weather, but still the pollution levels are more manageable. So I would say these three cities can be destinations which officers can look at in terms of being able to buy reasonable houses for their own consumption. We'll do some calculations here today, and then that would be more or less the end of today's discussion. So first, I'll get into the net worth statement, which this is a very broad statement, may not be applicable to everyone, but would be broadly applicable to the salaried individuals. Whatever salary you're earning at 50 years of age, that is approximately the average incomes of, at 50 is when you start kind of, if you're working till 60, 65, 50 is the average age. So whatever you are earning on an annual basis at 50, multiply that with 50, that approximately is going to be your lifetime worth of finances. That is the amount of money you will earn in a lifetime. So I'll break it down by an example and make it easier. An armed forces officer at 50 years of age as of today earns around 28 lakh rupees average on a yearly basis. So an armed forces officer over a lifetime would approximately earn around 14 to 15 CR, which includes salaries, pensions, etc., etc. Out of this, the savings would be approximately 25%. If that is the case, then it would be around 3.5 crore, or it would be 20%, then it would be approximately 2.8 crore. If it is 15%, then it would be approximately 2.1 crore. For the double income, double kids, or the double income single kids family, wherein the spouse is also working, if it is a lady who is working, statistics say that the lady would be approximately getting around 60% of the income which the male has been making. This now is changing, but till date, this is the statistics even for developed countries, because women tend to spend a lot of time in childcare, which diminishes their economic earning capability. So approximately a lady who's working for a similar lifetime, she'll earn approximately 50 to 60% of a male spouse. So the family household income would be approximately an additional 7 crore over a period of the lifetime. But the saving component will go up because of the two earning spouses. So other than that, there could be inheritances, there could be some additional allowances if you get foreign immersions, or if you go on a UN postings, and if you have been one of those who has had more field allowances or more field postings, then your allowances can be higher. So yes, if you're serving in the uniform, it's not a bad idea to try and get. That's a good start to maybe have more field postings or have more UN postings, and at the cost of sounding inappropriate, maybe a working spouse is also not a bad idea either ways. Now, the next sheet here is, so now how do you achieve this 25% or 3.5 CR of saving component? And this is besides the retirement fund you get, because this saving component is going to be very important for you to be able to meet your financial objectives over a lifetime, because this saving component is what you will invest, and that investments and that growth is what is going to help you meet the obligations towards buying a house, the obligations towards settling your children. So how do you go about that? The first thing you do is you have a measurement of how much you're getting on a monthly basis and a quarterly basis and the yearly basis, and how much you're spending out of it. So this is a sheet. I would be sharing the sheet. This is a broad sheet. I mean, kind of it contains everything as to how much you should, what are your expenses on one side, and you can call it a profit and loss statement of an individual. Your idea should be to have a surplus here on a monthly basis, which you invest and through which you make your investments grow for you. So this sheet, I usually share it after the talk with everyone on the Google group. I'll do it again today. Those who are not a part of the Google group, they can be a part of the Google group. And then next is the broad guidelines about investment of the corpus, which officers get after they have after their retirement. This is a very broad guideline. One is an aggressive. So there are kind of three different suggestions here. One is a very conservative kind of an investment portfolio, wherein out of 1 CR, it's only 45% or 45 lakh, which we have kept towards the equity or the real estate kind of an investment. And the expected return is around 10.45%. This is what we generally suggest to our clients, and this is a fairly balanced portfolio with adequate exposure to debt, gold, and liquid funds. Moderate is wherein the exposure towards the equity and risk has been increased, or rather to say the equity and real estate has been increased to around the 60%, and the portfolio return is around 11.6%. And then the monthly contribution is, when it comes to aggressive, it is around 80%, where the equity and real estate has been increased to 80%, and the expected return is 13.5 to 14% on the aggressive portfolio level return. This also I'll share with the individuals in the values network Google group. Some recommendations are there which we do for our clients on a very broad basis. Individuals will differ. So for short service officers, if they are getting around 50 lakh rupees as a corpus on their service from separation from service, then we recommend that they invest on 80% in equities. And why we say that? Because they have age on their side, they do not have a pension, and they need to make this investment to be able to meet their pensionary requirement. And around 20%, that's around 10 odd lakh towards the debt side. And for debt also, we tell them to please keep on reinvesting that amount instead of using the debt returns. They should reinvest that amount. Our assumption is that if they stay invested for 25 odd years because they have age on their side, this 40 lakhs which they had invested towards the equity should fetch them a 15% compounded return over a 25 period of time, and that should work to around 12 odd crores of asset for them, so that they can draw pensions out of it once they reach the age of 65. Word of caution here, in 2023, 12 crore looks a big figure. 25 years from now, it will not look that big a figure. It would be just enough to make sure that this particular individual has a handsome pension over the next 20 years. It's not going to make this person greatly rich person by any standards. The inflation will continue to reduce or diminish the cost of money over a period of time. And since the debt also should be reinvested, so that should also, this 10 lakhs should be around 50 odd lakhs in a period of the same 25 odd years. Alternatively, if you are yet to buy a house, go ahead and buy a house if you're a short service commission officer. For PMR officers, the investment surplus, the investable amount is around 1.25 crore. Our suggestion to them is to opt for 65% towards equity and 35% towards debt. That's a suggestion. At a compounded annual growth rate of around 12%, we give them around 15 to 20 years of time, because that's when they, after which they stop working and they start withdrawing. I mean, they're basically then dependent purely on their pension and their withdrawals from their investment. Then their portfolio, the asset portfolio, the asset base should be around 3 odd crores from the equity and 1.8 from the debt. This should be sufficient for them to be able to maintain financially viable lifestyle for a considerably long period, even up till 90, 100 years. And then for the superannuation officers who are now superannuating, and let's assume that, once they have hit the age of 60, how they should be working. What we tell them is that you kind of maintain a balance of 50-50. Their investment surplus is around 1.5. So you have 50% equity and a 50% debt, out of which your equity should give you a 12% compounded annual growth rate, so that you always have enough of capital with you, and you are able to continuously draw from that well and keep on replenishing your pension, so that you have a very, very enjoyable retired life. From the 75 lakh towards debt, your average monthly withdrawal can be around 37.5 or thousand. So with a commuted pension, you should be able to have a healthy life. Once the commutation finishes, you are in a better stage. I am going to come to the last or the second last slide. People you'll need, no brainer here, a good financial advisor, a property broker, a reasonably priced advocate, and a reasonably priced chartered accountant. This is where I would blatantly, on this slide, is where I would blatantly advertise myself. Why you should choose us? One, we have been in the industry for one of the longest time. We have been in the financial and real estate industry since 2008. Ample of experience behind us. We have seen a lot of markets. We have seen a lot of ups and downs. I can very, very comfortably, confidently say that point two, I have the widest product mix in olive green consultants. We are the only ones with whom you can discuss real estate, you can discuss mutual funds, you can discuss all kind of insurances, you can discuss direct equities. You have a single point for all expert advice. Me, my partner, and a lot of other people, our organization would be able to give you a lot of expert advice on very topics of finances, whether it is taxes, real estate investments, mutual fund investments, etc., etc. We are very, very detail oriented, slow, conservative. So point 4 is that come what may, I'll not risk your money. With us, the assurances आपका पैसा अच्छे से लगाएंगे, सुरक्षित लगाएंगे, अच्छा कमाएंगे, आपको सिरदर्द नहीं होने देंगे. And we generously use technology. All our clients are they get access to their portfolios through technology, through online interfaces. You really don't need to step out of your home to be able to manage your money when we work for you. The way and it's continuous handholding and completely transparent. So with this, I am done.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind.